Me now with reaction to all of this. House Majority Whip, California Congressman Kevin McCarthy. His last two budgets, he couldn't even get a single Democrat congressman to vote for it. So we got $1.1 trillion in new taxes. He just got 2 tax increases in January, and we have $964 billion in new spending. Seriously, that's his budget.
That is his budget. What's even worse, Sean, is his budget never balances. No. When people do a budget in their own household, they do a budget so it balances so they get out of debt. He just adds to the debt more, takes more taxes out of the economy from hardworking taxpayers just so he can continue the spending spree. He never fixes the problem.
Yeah. He said about George Bush that George Bush was irresponsible and unpatriotic. This is when the debt was $9 trillion. Taking a credit card to the Bank of China in the name of our kids and our grandkids and ringing up all this debt. Now we got $16 trillion, over $6 trillion more of new Obama debt, and now he's going to add $8.2 trillion by his own estimate. I mean, where does he think this is going to end?
Well, this is the real difference between the president's budget and the House Republicans. The House Republicans' budget will balance in 10 years, so we'll stop borrowing. At the end of 10 years, just the debt of what we're going to pay every year will be more than $700 billion. That's what you're going to be paying. And that's absurd. How can you ever solve a problem? How can you invest in the future? How can you have an economy that will grow? He grows government by more than 5%.
Right. We got to deal with another issue here. And you know what? Somebody's got to say it. I guess I will. Because not only is this delusional on the part of the president, he showed great arrogance, and he's the only one that's fair and balanced in his own thinking and his own mind here, but he's also full of crap. I mean, can we just lay this on the table? Sorry to say it, Congressman. You didn't, I did. But wait a minute. He says, I reduced the deficit $2.5 trillion. That is total garbage. He's lying to the American people because they are not cutting spending. They're not cutting back on deficits. He's given us record deficits. How does he, with a straight face, tell this garbage to the American people?
I don't know. It's a lot of smoke and mirrors because it never balances. It takes another $1.1 trillion. He didn't even produce this until the House has passed a budget and the Senate passed a budget. So really, why did he produce a budget? Because he's missed every deadline. No budget that he's ever produced has even got one vote from a Republican nor a Democrat has ever voted for any of his budgets. That's the sad part about it, and that's why we're in this fiscal mess to start out with.
And to be fair, I mean, you guys came up with, through Paul Ryan, I like the penny plan, all right? I'd like to cut 1 penny out of every dollar, no increases, but I'm not a congressman. I don't have any power. I'm just a humble little talk show host. But with that said, you guys are going to increase spending 4% a year, every year for 10 years, and every Democrat acts like, you know, you're gutting, you're cutting, you're destroying when you're upping the ante and spending every year 3.4%, and you'll get to a balanced budget. This president never gets to a balanced budget.
No, and the other thing that's really important here, not what people in Washington say about it, but John Taylor, an economist out at Stanford, he put a modeling system together and he looked at our budget. You know what he found? The Republican budget would even grow the economy faster, would add another percentage of growth in the next year, and that's what's really important to America. Let's put people back to work. Let's get them working and off the ability that they have to need government assistance, but more importantly, being able to buy those homes, pay for the kids' college, invest in the future.
Yeah, and what did you think? So there's the president. What was it, Memphis Soul Night at the White House last night? And there's Justin Timberlake, and there's Queen Latifah, and Al Green, and they're having themselves. By the way, we'll show a video of the president. He's like sitting there with Michelle, and he's having himself a good time. We're paying for all that at a time when he's complaining about the sequester. At a time when he's complaining about cuts and furloughs, he's having the time of his life, partying with Tiger Woods and vacationing all over the place.
Yeah, and then he cuts the self-guided tours from the White House because there's not enough money for the people to be able to see their own house.
Yeah,
that's absurd. What's wrong with Washington and what's wrong with the priorities of Washington. Here you have Republicans in the House that are putting priorities first to grow the economy, balance the budget, because you know what's really fair to Americans? Not to leave a debt for their children, not to leave a debt for the next generation.
We're robbing from them. Here's my question, last question, Congressman. Congressman, because
Sure.
the way the president characterizes you and conservatives and Republicans, you want to kill Granny, you want to destroy the environment, and you hate children, and you want to, especially sick children, that you want to just leave to fend for themselves. That's his characterization. But meanwhile, he's accumulating all of this debt, record deficits, and then he lies. The president says he's cutting. He's not cutting. Can you explain how you're going to combat that?
Well, the best way to do is numbers don't lie. Let's just put our numbers out front and show his. But what's more importantly, let the outside even study them. We have to continue to fight for this country. This country is too important. One thing this House is doing is we're putting a budget forward that balances. Even the White House will tell you, regardless of all the smoke and mirrors, his budget will never balance.
Sad. You know what? We're robbing those kids blind. Go back and look what he said about President Bush, $9 trillion. That's $7 trillion in debt ago. Anyway, Congressman, appreciate you being with us. We'll watch this unfold very closely. Tell those fellow Republicans, hold the line. Fight.
We will.
All right, appreciate it.